and welcome. Nigeria's fight against terrorism has entered a new phase as the federal government begins the prosecution of another massive batch of terrorism suspects, sending a strong message to terrorists, bandits, financiers, and collaborators across the country. In what is being described as one of the largest terrorism prosecution exercises in the nation's history, over 600 terrorism suspects are now facing trial before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The development comes as the federal government intensifies efforts to dismantle terrorist networks, prosecute those who support violent groups, and restore security across the country. Security around the Federal High Court was extraordinarily tight as heavily armed personnel from multiple security agencies seal off the court complex and monitor every entrance. Inside the courtroom, proceedings took place simultaneously before several judges specially assigned to handle terrorism-related cases. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, described the prosecution as a clear demonstration of the government's determination to confront terrorism with the full weight of the law. According to him, the current exercise represents the fourth phase of terrorism prosecutions under the present administration and reflects a broader strategy aimed at ensuring that those involved in terrorist activities face justice. Fagbemi stated that terrorism in any form would not be tolerated and emphasized that the government remains committed to making Nigeria safe for every citizen. He revealed that nearly 500 suspects appeared before various courts on the opening day, while dozens more are scheduled to appear in the coming days. Combined with pending cases from previous phases, the number of suspects being prosecuted exceeds 600. What makes this exercise particularly significant is the scale of judicial resources being deployed. 10 federal high court judges have been dedicated exclusively to terrorism cases during the prosecution period. Their sole responsibility is to hear and determine terrorism-related matters, ensuring that trials move forward without unnecessary delays. Already, several convictions have been secured. One of the notable cases involved a farmer from Borno State, Ali Mustafa, who pleaded guilty to concealing information regarding Boko Haram activities within his community. The court found that he knowingly withheld intelligence that could have assisted security agencies in tracking and apprehending terrorists. Justice Binta Yanko sentenced Mustafa to 15 years imprisonment without the option of any fine. However, considering that he had been in detention since 2013, the court ordered that the sentence be calculated from the date of his arrest. The judge acknowledged the challenges associated with reporting terrorist activities in remote communities, but maintained that citizens have a responsibility to assist security agencies whenever possible. Another significant conviction involved Maiduguri-based businessman Umar Bashiri, who was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for terrorism financing. Bashiri admitted using his bank account to facilitate financial transactions on behalf of Boko Haram members. According to court proceedings, he accepted millions of naira from a terrorist operative and transferred the funds through the banking system in exchange for a commission. The court found that Bashiri knowingly provided financial services that supported terrorist operations. Justice Yanko sentenced him to 20 years imprisonment without the option of a fine, warning that financial collaborators play a critical role in sustaining terrorist networks and must face severe consequences. The crackdown did not stop there. Another defendant, Issa Isiaka, who told the court that he is a father of 11 children with 2 wives, was also sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for concealing information about Boko Haram activities. Despite pleading for leniency, the court ruled that national security concerns outweighed personal circumstances. Meanwhile, in another courtroom, Bello Limman, popularly known as Alhaji Bello Doctor, received one of the heaviest sentences of the day. The court found him guilty of concealing information about a notorious terrorist leader and providing support services to the criminal network. Investigators revealed that he acted as an illegal medical practitioner for terrorist elements operating within the Northwest region. Justice Emeka Nwite sentenced Liman to a combined 30 years imprisonment. The court ordered that he undergo rehabilitation and de-radicalization programs after serving his prison term. The ruling highlights the government's growing focus on not only punishing offenders but also preventing future radicalization. The prosecutions come at a time when Nigeria continues to battle multiple security threats, including insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism financing. Authorities believe that disrupting the support networks behind terrorist groups is just as important as confronting armed fighters on the battlefield. Security experts have long argued that terrorist operatives survive because of the individuals who provide them with money, intelligence, logistics, shelter, medical assistance, and transportation. By aggressively prosecuting both fighters and their collaborators, the government hopes to weaken these networks and reduce the ability of terrorist groups to recruit, organize, and launch attacks. For many Nigerians, the mass prosecution exercise represents a major test of the country's commitment to accountability and justice. Citizens have repeatedly demanded strong action against those who sponsor, support, or enable terrorism, arguing that military operations alone cannot solve the problem. The federal government appears determined to demonstrate that terrorism has serious consequences, from financiers and informants to logistical support and field operatives. Authorities are pursuing a broad strategy aimed at ensuring that every link in the terrorist chain is identified and prosecuted. As the trials continue throughout the week, Nigerians will be watching closely to see how many additional convictions are secured and what impact these prosecutions may have on the broader security situation. One thing is already clear: the government is sending a message that the era of impunity for terrorism suspects is rapidly coming to an end. Do you believe this mass prosecution will help weaken terrorism in Nigeria? Or should the government focus more on intelligence gathering, border security, and military operations? Share your thoughts in the comment sections. If you value credible security updates and in-depth analysis of major national issues, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay informed as Nigeria's fight against terrorism enters a critical new stage. Many thanks for watching.